First of all, welcome. Good morning or afternoon, depending on where you're joining us from. I'm Jamie Pasquinelli, District Manager of ULI Pittsburgh. Today is our first program in our sustainability series in partnership with the City of Pittsburgh and ULI's Greenprint Center for Building Performance. As always, thank you to our sponsors that make our programming possible. We start this series with a high-level discussion with the City of Pittsburgh Department of City Planning about the Climate Action Plan 3.0 and new district energy programs. Learn what's new in local sustainability and why it matters to real estate and how you can get involved. Our next program will be on Friday, October 2nd at 1 p.m. for a similar session focusing on climate resilience. Please follow us on social media for more information on upcoming events. ULI's mission to provide leadership in the responsible use of land and creating and sustaining thriving communities worldwide is even more critical as we respond to recent global events. As a charitable 501c3 nonprofit organization, we rely on our members and supporters to fulfill that mission. We thank you for your support and ask for your continued engagement as we tackle the current challenges we face together. Please make sure that your mics are muted throughout the program to prevent any distractions. Also, we will be engaging in a Q&A after the presentation. We are trying something different for this program, so we just ask that you put your question in the chat at any point during the presentation, and we'll then call on you to ask your question during the Q&A. Additionally, our presenters will be staying after the program today to engage in a hallway chat if you wish to stay and network with us. Just please remain on the Zoom meeting if you would like to stay. It is my pleasure to introduce our moderator for today, Marta Schantz, Senior Vice President of ULI's Greenprint Center for Building Performance. So Marta, I will hand it over to you.
Wonderful. Glad to be here today and glad to chat with everyone about the business case for green buildings and what the City of Pittsburgh is doing. My job as moderator is to introduce everyone to start, so I'm going to do that now. And myself, I'll let you know a little bit about me. As Jamie mentioned, I'm the Senior Vice President for the ULI's Greenprint Center for Building Performance, where we make the business case for improving the environmental performance of the built environment by reducing carbon emissions and tying that to increased building value. So our team puts out reports of a number of different topics related to sustainability in real estate, such as city and real estate partnerships for climate policy. Other topics include embodied carbon in building materials, Class B and C office energy efficiency, and many more. And so I'm happy to be here moderating the discussion today. Our first speaker is going to be Sarah Yeager. She currently serves as the first climate and energy planner for the City of Pittsburgh. In this position, she works on multiple sustainability initiatives to improve the environmental quality, public health, and community resiliency through carbon mitigation and climate action. She developed the Pittsburgh Climate Action Plan 3.0 and compiled the third greenhouse gas inventory for the city as well. And following City Council's adoption of the Climate Action Plan in 2018, Sarah has transitioned to overseeing the implementation of the plan. And so she will be speaking more to that, and we look forward to her thoughts. After Sarah, we have Kathrine Mønsted, and she is a project manager for 12 years on district heating projects in Denmark. She has gained extensive experience with the Danish district heating model, the Danish suppliers and active companies on the market, as well as the implementation of specific district heating projects. And she's applying that to the City of Pittsburgh with a short-term stay here in the United States. Next, we have Flore Marion. She joined the City of Pittsburgh's Sustainability and Resilience Division in 2017 as the energy advisor through the City Energy Project and became full-time staff of the Sustainability and Resilience Division in 2019. Her primary role is as a city employee to improve building energy efficiency in Pittsburgh, both by assisting the Department of Public Works in delivering net zero ready municipal buildings, and also by implementing the benchmarking ordinance, which most certainly affects the private sector. And so with this legislation in the municipal code, she continues to implement the Climate Action Plan to help Pittsburgh achieve its 2030 goals. And last but certainly not least, just Chip Desmond. He's a third generation architect who has dedicated over 30 years of service to the industry. He's currently CEO of Desmone Architects. And over the past 15 years, the firm has grown immensely through his development of new partnerships and his ability to tap into new markets. He has impacted the industry greatly on both a local and a regional scale. And he's been an advocate for neighborhood transformation projects and adaptive reuse of infrastructure throughout the region. He's also a LEED accredited professional. And today he'll be showing his commitment to enhancing sustainability through their new office edition, which is WELL Gold certified. So we've got quite the group here today. And before diving in to their presentations, I did want to give everyone a little bit of background on ULI's Greenprint Center in case you want to get involved or learn from our efforts. We have a cohort of real estate leaders who are committed to reducing their carbon emissions, and we take their best practices and lessons learned and share them broadly with ULI's membership. And some of those pieces that we have learned are on the business case for sustainability. And I always like to talk about the business case for green buildings, and I wanted to give you all a quick recap of that to set the stage a bit before jumping in to hear what the city of Pittsburgh is doing on their climate policy efforts, how that relates to the private real estate sector, and then with Desmone Architects kind of rounding it out with their perspective on implementation. So first and foremost, on the business case for sustainability, we think about reducing risk. And that could be anything from securing a long-term lease with an anchor tenant, potentially excellent credit, or making sure your building can withstand a hurricane, right? Sustainability does cover the gamut. And so reducing risk for an owner or developer helps attract investment. It can get you good insurance premiums, lower your operating expenses, and all of that can roll up into your net operating income and your asset value. So this is something that is important to think about overall for that business case. Additionally, this next one here is perhaps the most obvious, just reducing costs and expenses, right? If you're reducing your energy usage or your water usage or your waste, your utility costs go down. And that's a value that is clearly involved in your profit and loss statement. Additionally, you think about not just the cost, but maximizing revenue. And so when you can make your building or your product better than the one next door to attract more tenants and reduce your vacancy, charge higher rents, or just win the competitive bid for your next new development, sustainability can be that way to eke out that additional bit of revenue. And then last, but certainly not least, especially on the development side, but also for major renovations and fit outs, there's a real value in saving time and money, which may be counterintuitive because there's this myth that sustainability adds cost. It really doesn't if you plan for it ahead of time. And so sometimes you can fast track your permit line if your development is more sustainable, or you can sometimes get incentives from the city that help with your development to financially pencil more smoothly. It can also help with future cash flows if there are other incentives around height restrictions or floor area ratio, or just simply utility incentives or rebates for implementing projects that improve the efficiency of your space. So with that, I've set the stage a bit for the business case for green buildings, and I look forward to passing it over to Sarah to talk about the city of Pittsburgh.
Great, thank you, Marta. I'm gonna just go ahead and share my screen. Are you able to see that presentation?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. Hello, everybody. Thank you guys for joining today. As mentioned, my name is Sarah Yeager, and I am the Climate and Energy Planner with the City of Pittsburgh. I'm going to just kind of start things off today with a little bit of a high-level overview of our climate action plan, and then Flore and is going to go a little bit deeper into some of the building-specific things, and Kathrine is going to go a little bit deeper into some of the district energy topics. So our latest climate action plan was adopted in 2018. It is based on data around our greenhouse gas inventory and then a number of goals that the mayor set as a part of the Paris Climate Accord. So with this slide, you can kind of see the breakdown of the emissions inventory within the city of Pittsburgh. And where we really see a lot of our emissions coming from is that commercial building sector. So over half of the emissions citywide come from commercial buildings. And so that's why it's really relevant, I think, to engage with groups such as ULI, because there's a lot of work that can be done when we talk about our climate goals within this commercial sector. So high level, our general goals of greenhouse gas emissions reductions are 20% by 2023, 50% by 2030, and 80% by 2050. So these are all based on a 2003 baseline year. Our last inventory, which is the data you see here, was done with 2013 data. We're currently in the process of doing both a 2018 inventory as well as a 2019 inventory. And our hope is that as we improve data access and we have better quality data, that we'll be able to do annual inventories moving forward and really be able to show the progress that we're making through some of the strategies and actions we've laid out in the Climate Action Plan. With those high level kind of total emissions reductions goal, we've also highlighted a number of 2030 goals, which will help us achieve that 50% emissions reductions. And we kind of break these down into two different sectors. One being specific to city operations and really the city being able to lead by example and in reducing our emissions. And the other half is citywide goals. So for city operations, we have a goal of converting to 100% renewable electricity for all of our facilities, 100% fossil fuel free fleet, and then divestment of city pensions from the fossil fuel industry. When we look citywide, we have a goal of 50% energy and water use reduction, a 50% reduction in transportation related emissions, and then we also have a zero waste goal. So really trying to divert waste from landfill and create a more circular economy. So with these goals, there's a lot of room for engagement and a lot of room for action. And again, with 50% of our emissions coming from the commercial building sector, there's a lot of ability to engage with commercial sector to achieve these 50% energy use reductions, as well as the zero waste and the transportation goals. So when we laid out the Climate Action Plan, we kind of look at these high level goals, looked at our data, looked at some of the previous work that had been done around climate action in the city of Pittsburgh, and really wanted to take a holistic approach to climate action. So this is the third climate action plan that the city has adopted, but we kind of shifted the way we thought about things as compared to the previous two climate action plans. Previously, the main focus had kind of been just the building sector and specifically that commercial sector. Again, it is a really key area for improvement and key area for reductions, but we recognize that taking this holistic approach allows for more collaboration and a lot of additional co-benefits in addition to the emissions reductions. So with this climate action plan, we kind of broke it down into 6 chapters. The first 3 are what I would call the more traditional climate action areas. So that's energy generation and distribution. So how do we change where we get our energy and how we distribute it to customers? Buildings and end use efficiencies. This is how do we use our energy and how do we ensure that we're using energy efficiently? And then transportation and land use. The last 3 then are what I would say are kind of the newer additions with waste and resource recovery, food and agriculture, and urban ecosystems. A lot of this is how we kind of look at that engagement with residents and the people who live, work, and play within the city of Pittsburgh. A lot of those things within the food, waste, and urban ecosystems chapters will help reduce emissions, but they also will do things like improve food access, improve air quality, improve open space. So looking again holistically at how we can improve the city as a whole while also reducing our greenhouse gas emissions. So a little bit more specifically, just at some of the kind of goals and priority actions that we're looking at. I've kind of for this group, narrowed it down more just if people have questions about waste, urban ecosystems, or urban agriculture, I'm happy to talk about them or answer questions about them. But given the group we have here, I've kind of focused on the buildings, efficiency, and transportation. And so Kathrine will talk a little bit later about our prioritization of district energy systems and finding ways to implement more and improve district energy within the city of Pittsburgh. We're also doing a lot to work around increasing renewables, both within the city of Pittsburgh, but then also within southwestern Pennsylvania. The renewable space is a really great place to have a lot of local benefits, a lot of local potential job growth and economic growth, and really partnering with a lot of those high energy users within the city of Pittsburgh to help them start shift to more renewable sources. We also are looking, as part of the Department of City Planning now, at how we can better influence and use land use and development goals to align with the climate action plan, and then also when we are talking with the development community, making sure that those climate goals are a part of that conversation. We recently also have some new financing programs such as CPACE in Allegheny County that we think will really help achieve some of these efficiency goals and renewable goals in the commercial sector. Benchmarking and auditing, Flore will discuss a little bit later as far as how we're, again, better tracking some of this data related to energy use within the city to then help prioritize some of the actions to reduce energy. We're also looking in the transportation sector as how we can work with partners to prioritize employees commuting by bus or alternative methods, and then also looking at how we can convince or encourage people to electrify their private fleets, private EV ownership, having electric vehicle charging stations available to employees. There's a lot of things, again, within that kind of transportation sector that as landowners, land users, and employers, there's a lot of ability to kind of help influence how people get around, how employees move about the city to help reduce that 50% of transportation emissions. So again, a very quick kind of high-level overview of the Climate Action Plan. I'm sure there may be questions, so at the end I'm happy to dive deeper into any of these topics. But I'd like to next hand it over to Kathrine, who, as I mentioned, will talk a little bit more about the district energy projects we've been working on.
All right, thank you very much, Sarah. My name is Kathrine Mønsted. I am a Danish district engineer from Aarhus municipality. Aarhus is the second largest city in Denmark, and we have, I think it's around 95% of Aarhus covered with district energy supplied already. Aarhus and Pittsburgh has had this collaboration, this partnership going for several years, and the Danish Trade Council from the Danish Embassy and the Foreign Affairs, they have applied and received money for getting a Danish technical engineer over here to help Pittsburgh work on different carbon reducing solutions, and there in lies the district energy systems. So I'm here trying to advance the energy systems within the city and trying to ensure the Climate Action Plan goals that Sarah just gave a recap of. Next slide, please, Sarah. Thanks. So what is district energy? This is just a quick overview of district energy, so everyone is on the same page. It's a process of distributing heat and cooling to multiple buildings within an energy center. You can have a system that has only district heating. You can have a system that has both district heating and cooling. And you can have a system combined with electricity also. When you combine the production of heat together with generating electricity, then you get a much more efficient system. Normal power production approximately uses 40% of the intake energy, and the rest is actually heat loss. So when combining the systems, you can use that heat for heating buildings. It's a very resilient system, consistent system in delivery, and it's very easy to maintain. And it provides a very good indoor climate for the consumer. It does not take so much space as business as usual rooftop coolers or chilling towers. You can free valuable space at both the top or the bottom floor in the buildings. So you can have extra room for rent out or additional amenities. District energy is not in itself carbon reductive or low on carbon, but it depends very much on what fuel you're using, of course. The fuel source is, of course, the focus, and there are a lot of ways to heat water and produce electricity. You can use coal, but that's not very low carbon. You can use natural gas. Again, it has a lot of carbon emissions. Biomass is more commonly used in Denmark together with municipality waste as a heat source. What's very attractive about the district energy system is that it allows for a lot of flexibility in using different types of fuels, and it allows communities to work towards more renewable solutions. District energy systems can be integrated with solar panels or geothermal using the earth's heat, or waste heat from industries within the city, or take waste heat from the sewage. There's lots of different possibilities to provide renewable district energy systems. It requires, however, that it should be on hot water as opposed to steam. I know you have more steam systems here, but it's difficult to heat the water if you're taking it from geothermal or solar. It's difficult to heat it up to steam temperatures. It's rather, actually you can keep the temperature down to 140, 160 Fahrenheit degrees. Next slide, please. So what does Pittsburgh has today? We have, actually it's not new at all in Pittsburgh. They have had district energy systems for over 100 years. In downtown, PACT is the utility company. They have primarily steam, and it's buried deep under the streets and in tunnels. Right now we have discussions going on with the city and PACT, because the city is of course one of the consumers at PACT. So that's good. And that means that we have as a city, we both have a stake in getting a renewable system to the city, but also we are one of the customers of the city, so of the system. So that's important also. Both North Side and Uptown districts today is supplied by Clearway Energy that provides hot water and steam to the two big areas here. And in Lower Hill and Hill District, we have different discussions on how to expand the network from Clearway throughout the Hill District. We have in Oakland, there's very big universities. It's one of the most energy dense areas of the city, and they have their own district energy systems based on steam today. So again, definitely not something new, but existing systems. They are contemplating making big energy master plans or institutional master plans for those universities. Well, throughout the whole city, there's lots of other potentials, which we're going to talk about in minutes. Next slide, please. The most recent climate action plan that Sarah just guided us through states that the district energy system is the backbone of some of the solutions mentioned there. So it's very important for the city to expand the network. It has the potential to improve the air quality inside the whole city and reduce the fighting energy burden for some of the residents. And it can also create a lot of jobs within the city. So the vision for Pittsburgh is definitely to provide an effective and cost-efficient way to achieve the sustainability objectives by creating the affordable, resilient, and efficient thermal energy to Pittsburgh. Can I have next slide, Sarah? So how do we get there? And what can you do to help us? Well, right now the city are in a strategic process of setting up different strategic plans. They are making a future comprehensive plan for the whole city to include more energy renewable solutions in both the zoning codes and in the regulatory tools that they have. The city is definitely leading as an example. We are, as Sarah said, we are, and as you will hear later in these sustainability series from Flore and our other colleagues, we are making EVs, electrical vehicles in our fleets, and we are trying to come to net zero buildings within the whole city. We have, with the regulatory tools, we are trying to change the zoning codes. We want to set up a more performance point system and a target program where you can get height bonuses for when you do renewable solutions on site or connect to the district energy system or try to do more efficient buildings. So we have a performance bonus system around that. There will be green building reviews together with the Green Building Alliance. We have an alliance with Green Building Alliance. They are a non-profit organization around Pittsburgh that we definitely have a lot collaborative with, a strong collaborative with. We are looking into the strengthening the district energy systems and doing storm water management and so forth. That's all within the performance point system. We're also looking into, as a city, doing preliminary plans, overlays, master energy plans, and local plans throughout the city in the different districts. We are looking into creating a energy authority or a entity that will only consider energy solutions within the city. We are hoping to set up a climate committee from different community stakeholders to help support the city in the different energy solutions that we are hoping to set up. We are also looking into the possibilities of making business improvement districts. We have several of them. We have some of them in the city already. They are targeted more for infrastructure and clean streets, cleaning up, flowers and such throughout the districts. But it's very new to set up a business improvement district around only energy infrastructure to support that. It's a very big initial cost sometimes to do to make an expansion of the piping system for district energy. So this is one of the solutions that we're looking into, trying to fund that initial cost. We have, together with Green Building Alliance, we have the 2030 district voluntary commitments already set up in different parts of the cities. They are committed to this program. That's the downtown, north side, Oakland, and uptown. Otherwise, we are having lots of dialogues with both the utility companies and a lot of the stakeholders around the city. So we are definitely hoping that some of the, as Sarah said, the commercial stakeholders will be important for us to connect to, and hopefully we'll be able to expand our district energy systems to those hopefully in collaboration with you, perhaps. So the city has so many ongoing activities that I probably have forgotten some here, but it all leads to the same goal, and it's all the part of the strategic plan for the city of Pittsburgh. The projects here will indirectly and directly support job creation through different investments and new development. So it's for us, we are hopefully to create, to meet our goals on creating better air quality and reducing the carbon emission in the city. So
well, that's fantastic, Kathrine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, hopefully some of the folks on the line are getting into their kind of brainstorm around how the city's goals, especially on building and end use efficiency, are going to affect the private sector, and then how district energy systems may have some interesting benefits to either new developments or existing spaces that may be within some of those business or neighborhood districts. So this is great. Okay, well, let's pass it on to Flore to continue from the city. Flore, if you're speaking, you may be on mute.
I wasn't speaking. I started sharing the screen before and muting myself, and then I could not find the button. So my apology, everybody. Can you see the screen?
Yes, we see the full PowerPoint.
Oh, okay. So good afternoon, everybody. I also have an accent. I'm from France, but I've been in Pittsburgh for 13 years. So I might be a longer Pittsburgher than some of you in the room. So my name is Marion, and I focus on building efficiency, both for the municipal building and for the commercial buildings. So one of my first roles when I joined the city was to do a comprehensive municipal benchmarking report. So we've been tracking the energy of our building for a long time in portfolio manager, like some of you, but really didn't took the time to really take a step back and look at the portfolio. And so that's what I did, and this report is available on our planning website. So if you want to read it in detail, it's available there. Of course, I don't expect you to read the little words over here, but I just want to highlight that we came to realize that our large office, and you can guess that this bigger square is the city county building, is using almost 25% of our energy consumption. So intervening in this building would be very important to get to our 50% energy reduction goals. We also looked at our different usage in our different facilities, and we can see that we have a lot of firehouse, and some of them use double the energy than others. So we're trying to dive deeper into this information to figure out what is working, what is not, so we can have a effective intervention in those buildings for all of our buildings to become more efficient. So one of my recommendations would be if you're already tracking your energy in a tool like Portfolio Manager or another, to really take the time to realize where will be a strategic investment to really save energy and save on your utility bills. Because ultimately, like Marta mentioned, saving energy will save you money. Like Sarah briefly touched on, CPACE is coming to Pittsburgh and the Allegheny County in general. So you could start researching CPACE and find out more information and see if you could be a good candidate, because it's coming up in the next few months. And that would be a really great tool to start investing in energy efficiency in the buildings. So we did that analysis, and we realized where we were and where we wanted to be. And we realized that we could not simply get to those goals without changing anything else. We had a LEED Silver requirement in our code for maybe 15 years now, I think. And the way it was written, it effectively impacted only 1 or 2 buildings. So we needed to change that if we wanted to really streamline energy efficiency in our buildings. So that's when we decided to add a net zero ready requirement for all of our new building and major retrofit. And we worked on this policy for over a year, and it was introduced in winter. And since then, we already started seeing changes. So here's some pictures of several of the buildings that are already being retrofitted or rebuilt under this new legislation. So you can see I have 7 pictures here. I think I might be missing 1 or 2 others. And what has been pleasantly surprising is that by just having this net zero ready requirement in the code and in the RFPs, the answer we got from the community, from the architectural team and the engineering teams has been just wonderful. All of the team answering to us are highly qualified, they are local, they all have a partner that is an expert in net zero or high performance buildings. So by just asking for that in our request to the community, we realized that the expertise was right there in the city and available. So that's the point I'm making here. If you make energy efficiency a priority in your request when you're building a new project, the community is going to answer with solutions for it. So you just have to ask. Another thing we've done recently this summer is enroll 2 of our larger sites in demand response. So like I said, we did this the benchmarking analysis and realized what site were large user, and we realized that we could enroll those sites in a demand response program with our utility. And just by enrolling in this program and answering to the peak event when the utility notified us, we can get up to $56,000 payment over 3 years. And so I recommend that if you have somewhat large user, to talk with your utility provider and see if you could be a good candidate for a demand response program, because not only do you get payment, but you would reduce your energy use at peak time. And that means that when everybody's asking for energy, that's when the older, more polluting plant come online. And so by reducing the demand at this time, we're avoiding the largest pollutions to be created, and we're reducing the strain on the grid. So demand response is a really great tool on so many, in many aspects. Then the second part of my work is focusing on the benchmarking ordinance. So I have 2 quick snapshots here. I'm sorry the postal code did not put the numbers of all of the zip code, but you can see that we have large buildings everywhere in Pittsburgh. It's not just 1 zip code. There's about like 20 different zip codes here. And there's also a vast diversity of building type that are required to benchmark. Sometimes some people just think commercial building and just picture offices, but there's about 20 different building type that have shared the information with us. So with that, we're getting more information about how they're all using energy, and we can try to brainstorm what are the programs and the other policies that we could put in place to help them invest in their building to reduce the energy use. And then my final slide is a preview of the scorecard that are coming to building owners this month. We're collecting 3 years worth of data now, and so we will be sending scorecard back to the building owner who benchmarked with us, so they can see how their building is doing. So you could see the first chart here would be the 3 years worth of data, and then here you can see this building with a darker line comparing to the other buildings in the same category. Knowing that all of the ones that are touching the line here, they have a larger energy usage. It could be much higher than the line, but we wanted to focus on how you compare to the best performing building here. So look for these scorecards in your mailbox. With COVID, it's probably going to be sent to the email that share their information with us, and I'm hoping to hopefully maybe have a paper trail, because I know some customers prefer having a document. So the scorecards are coming very soon to all of the partners that that benchmark with us. And I guess I would add that, so now that we know the energy consumption of those buildings, maybe they're going to start having some interest from tenants to rent space in buildings that are more performing and have a lower energy bill. Even more so if we go back to work and have to telework again, saving on the energy bill is going to become more and more important. And I know that ULI has been working with other partners on something called green leases. So I encourage you to reach out to them to talk about it, because you could create those green leases and come to agreement with your tenants on how to save energy in those spaces. And that is it for the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Flore. Thank you, everyone from the city of Pittsburgh. I think it's been fantastic to get the big picture of the city goals, the deep dive into district energy potential, and then also the specifics on the city's net zero requirement, really leading by example, and then also giving that update on the city's benchmarking program, which certainly affects the private sector for those larger buildings. So with that, let's pass it over to Chip to give his thoughts on green buildings overall and a deep dive into what his architecture firm has done with their office. Chip, you seem to be on mute. We'll need to go through and unmute your phone line. Just give us one moment and we'll take care of that.
Chip, if you just want to press *6 to unmute yourself.
How about that?
Perfect.
Okay, is my screen up?
Yes, looks great.
Okay, so thank you very much. So back in 2015, I was fortunate enough to have been appointed to the AIA's Design Health Leadership Group, which was an organization of architects and medical professionals and urbanists who were studying the intersection between building design and public health. And what I was learning as a part of this group is that this kind of the evolution of buildings towards really not just the addressing energy issues, but addressing how buildings promote human health was really kind of the next thing to be looking at. That's what I used to look like when I wore a suit. But what really caught my attention about this, about the well building program, was really kind of the cultural values that I was seeing align between the well program and our company's culture, and our ability and need and desire to care about the wellness of our employees and taking care of them as best we can while they're here at work, when they're at work. And so what we sought to do, because we had a need to expand our office, was to find a way to create the best building that we possibly could that furthered the design abilities of Desmond architects, that promoted our culture and really extended the vision of what it was we wanted to be as a company through health and wellness for our employees. So what is WELL? Well, WELL has a series of metrics that help to measure the quality of the environment that you're working in this case, and that's air, water, fitness, light, nourishment, mind, and comfort. And in these different elements, there's a series of metrics that you have to hit. So, for example, in air, we have extensive filtration systems built into our mechanical systems. So the quality of the air is constantly tested. In fact, I can have a live feed on my phone that I can just pull up at any moment and see what the quality of the air is inside our building. The air, there's also, and I can get into this a little further later, but there's a detailed cleaning protocols around the building with regards to surfaces and just where people interact with surfaces, which is actually, the timing with that and COVID was absolutely perfect because we were prepared on so many levels that way. Fitness, as someone who can, I bike to work occasionally, and our, we've got a large bike parking area for our staff that readily uses it. The stairwells in the building are wider than a typical stair. They're not emergency exits. They're places of meeting and congregating and exploring and enjoying space. Where we're promoting through a lot of our cultural programming, lots of physical activities for employees to enjoy together, typically as a part of the fitness program. And the mind, we've got spaces adapted for we have a regular masseuse who would come in before the lockdown. And so we've created spaces for that, created spaces for private communications, for telephone booths and things like that, and meditation spaces, lactation spaces, things like that. Comfort, we've got pretty significant acoustical solutions around the building. We have fairly extensive thermal controls, really at almost every, at multiple zones throughout the office. There's glass on either side, so we could be having cooling required on another side, on one side, while we're, while we would have none on the other. We have operable windows that allow for ventilation throughout the space. Nourishment, we have, kind of dining and lunch programs that we promote during the week for our employees. Light, there's kind of a right to light way that we look at things, that everybody in the office has a window to look out of, and I think that really helps promote circadian rhythmic design, and we also have the ability to control glare both at the window line and on our surfaces as well, with regards to the finishes that we have in the office and the task lighting and the shading that we do. And I think I already talked about the water, but we do extensive filtration and testing of our water systems here. The city of Pittsburgh is not known always as having the greatest water, but we do everything we can to have the cleanest water possible, both coming into the building and what we consume on site. Oops, wrong way. So this kind of the certificate, really helped us to look at the way we work, the way we interact with our employees, the way the building interacts with people, the way the space itself works with our daily work effort. And so we have adaptable spaces around. We have biophilia. We've got literally plants everywhere, and a program to maintain the plants. We've got a significant VOC reduction the kind of materials that we're using here. And like I said, with regards to the stairs, you know, we promote the use of stairs and the use of walking around. We have, you know, the lunchroom is about as far away from anybody's workspace as we can get it, because we want to promote people walking to lunch and having lunch together when we can. We have, you know, we have actual counters on the steps that tell you how many calories you're burning by going up a flight of steps. You know, we also have a sound masking as well that helps control noise in a environment that's, you know, for the most part, fairly open spaces. So, you know, what we see, and this, you know, this has lots of alignments with, you know, saving money, and, you know, a healthy employee is a happy employee, is a harder working employee, is a more productive employee. And that's why health matters. And so if people are healthy, they're going to feel better about what it is they're doing. And so all this is, you know, designed to attract and retain the best people we can find. This program is backed by research and data and best practices. Like I mentioned before, you know, we have a very rigorous cleaning program, and this was in place a year ago. So we feel like, you know, we came into the pandemic really prepared for making sure that the space that we work in is really the cleanest we could possibly make it. And again, you know, all this wraps around our company culture, and you know, the policies that we create around what it is we eat in the building, how we work in the building, how we play in the building, what we do outside the building, what we do as a company together, and it's really you know, just a great guideline for how we promote what it is we do as architects. And you know, it's really a way that design is moving towards the future. And you know, as energy savings and LEED and you know, things around making buildings better and more energy efficient become a part of really a part of building design, almost codified. The next thing is going to be, how do we make these buildings that we all spend so much time in better places for us to be? These are just a couple of photos of what it was before and after. In the upper left-hand corner, that's what it looked like in 1993 after we moved in. You can see in the bottom left-hand corner there, that's kind of the structure going up, and on the right side, that's you know, the addition to the historic bank building complete. And again, interior, some before after. The befores are on the left and the afters are on the right. You know, what it looked like when we had 5 people when we moved into the building, and you know, still in many ways a glorious space to work in. But you see in that bottom left-hand corner, that was our library back in '93. And on the bottom right, that library is now a passageway from the old building to the new building that we've commissioned Baron Batch to come in and do some graffiti art for us. Then see here, just a couple more exterior shots of how the building you know, occupies the street, and you can kind of see in the design of the building, you know, the places where that whole glass area is really our main workspace, and that's where you know, our windows are operable and people have great daylight. And then the left side where the siding is more like a kind of you know, more functional places for meetings and other kind of building necessity things like bathrooms, etc. Oops, shoot. I just lose it. So, and I'll get back to where I was here. So this is interior, and that's the main workspace that we operate in on the left, and on the right we have it split by studios, and each bay is occupied by a studio. And as you can see, people are fairly spread out, so there's already a lot of inherent distancing built into it.
Chip, I hate to interrupt, but we've got 1 minute until 2 o'clock, so we may need you to wrap up. All
right. So as I said before, this was about culture for us. It worked out very well that we came into a pandemic, prepared physically as an architecture firm to move forward and still have the ability for some of our employees who are willing to come back into the office feel safe and comfortable. Done.
Thank you, Chip. And hopefully we can continue more in our hallway chat afterwards. For the folks who are logging off, I'll just say that I'd like to say thank you to all of our panelists, and it's great to have Chip close things out, especially to talk through kind of the health and well-being and the tenant occupant perspective on how these things are valued. I think it's an important perspective to include. And one thing that I always like to remember is that there are so many health and wellness benefits that tie with sustainability, right? Daylighting and lighting controls bring in those efficiencies, but also improve the circadian rhythm, as you mentioned, Chip, improve employee productivity and happiness. And then with the operable windows and the indoor air quality and humidity level efforts, being able to think about those in an energy efficient way that's also healthy is a wonderful tie-in. So kudos on that work, Chip. Well done. Jamie, do you want to close us out?
So thank you, Marta. Thank you, August, from your staff for helping us out. Thank you to all of our speakers. Chip, I need to come visit that building. It's gorgeous. And just, yeah, thank you, everybody. In the chat, I did put that this program is recorded. It will be uploaded on our YouTube channel. And it will be on ULI's Knowledge Finder at some point. So check back. Again, our social media, everything. So please follow us. And if you're staying with us to chat, please stay on the Zoom and we'll be here. So thanks, everybody. Have a wonderful day.